This is a homework help video for Advanced Algebra Lesson 4-5, Determinants. We're going to look at three problems, the first being number 20, which asks you to find the determinant for a 2x2 matrix. In order to find the determinant of the 2x2 matrix, I have to first multiply the main diagonal, which I am circling in blue. -6 times 5. I also have to find the product of my other diagonal, which I'm circling in red. 8 times -2. I am going to find the difference in those two products, and that is considered my determinant. So my main has a product of -30. My other diagonal, a product of -16. So my determinant for this 2x2 matrix will be a -14. Next problem we're going to look at is number 30, which asks you to find the determinant of a 3x3 matrix using expansion by minors. To perform that task, I start by looking at row 1. That's the -3, the 0, and 6. Those are going to be the scalar multipliers for each subsequent 2x2 determinant that I create. What I mean by that is I first start with -3. If I eliminate row 1, column 1, the remaining 2x2 determinant is the 5, 4, -2, 2. I eliminated row 1, column 1, creating a 2x2 matrix of the other four numbers. I now go to row 1, column 2. That's where the 0 is. I'm going to subtract that 0 times the remaining 2x2 determinant. I am now going to eliminate all the numbers in row 1, column 2. Same row as 0, same column as 0. That leaves 4 remaining numbers. 6, 1, -2, and 2. My last number in row 1 is the 6. If I eliminate everything in row 1, column 3, I am left with another 2x2 determinant. 6, 1, 5, 4. I now have my expansion by minor set up as scalar multiplication times a 2x2 determinant, like we did in the previous problem. So I have to perform all of that 2x2 determinant work, which means I'm going to take my -3 in order to find this determinant. 5 times 2 minus 4 times -2. For the middle one, I know it's a 0, and that's going to wipe everything out, but I'm still going to go through and figure out the determinant for the 2x2 determinant for practice. 6 times 2 minus 1 times -2. And for my last, I'd have 6 times 4 minus 1 times 5. I have all my 2x2 determinants set up. I just need to evaluate everything now. This would be -3 times 10 minus -8. This would be 0 times 12 minus -2 plus 6 times 24 minus 5. I'm just going to continue to keep working through each subsequent step. This is now -3 times 18 minus 0 times 14 plus 6 times 19. Final multiplication. This would be -4. Middle term is 0. And my last term is 114. If I take -54 minus 0 plus 114, I will get a determinant of 60. And 60 is the determinant of this 3x3 matrix for number 30. Last problem we're going to look at is problem number 34. which is also finding the determinant of a 3 by 3 matrix, but this time using diagonals. There's the original problem. I start by rewriting the first two columns to the right of the determinant. So all I am doing is recopying column 1 and column 2. I now have to multiply my diagonals. The first diagonal I'm going to multiply, I call them the downward diagonals. I start in the upper left-hand corner, and I multiply the three numbers I am circling in blue. 1 times -7 times -3. To that, I will add my next downward diagonal, also circling in blue. 5 times 8 times 5. I have one more downward diagonal that I can build off of in row 1. Circling in blue. 2 times -6 times 9. I'm going to do all this multiplication and adding right now in this instance of space. So that will be 21. My middle term will be 200, and my third term will be -108. If I add up those three values, I get a total of 113. That's not my determinant yet. I still have other diagonals that I'm going to actually subtract, building off of row 3. This will be in red. What I mean by that is, if I start in row 3, column 1, the 5, I need to find the value of that diagonal. I call them the upward diagonals. And I do the same multiplying. 5 times -7 times 2. And I have my next one, building off of row 3, column 2. 9 times 8 times 1. And I have one more that I can build off of from row 3. -3, -6, and 5. I now have to go through and do all the multiplication and addition. I multiply my first set of numbers, that's a -70. Multiply my middle set of multiplication, 72. And the third, I have a product of 90. If I find the sum of those three upward diagonals, I get a total of 92. What I now do is I take all the blue diagonals, which gave me a total of 113, and I subtract from that the sum of my upward diagonals, the red, the 92. And over here, I'm going to put it in black. When I take all the downward diagonals and I subtract all the upward diagonals, I will get my determinant of 21.